Welcome to the data overview for Haynesbridge Middle School, which is part of the Fulton County School District. My name is Sandra Bennett. I teach 7th grade TAG Life Science, and I'm shown here in the top right corner, and several of my students in my science lab are shown below that. The bottom left picture shows kids at a pep rally to celebrate the end of CRCT testing this past year. In this overview, I plan to share just a bit about our school's demographics and how our district's CRCT performance compares to the state. We'll also be looking at how our school's performance compares to the district with a focus on science and math, the key components to our STEM initiative. Then we'll take a closer look at our local data disaggregated by content area, and I will highlight some math and science trends. And finally, I'll end with some closing thoughts and comments and next steps. This gives a picture of our school's demographics, and as you see, there is diversity, but perhaps not as significant as it is in other parts of the district or state. We have just under 50% white, and our second largest subgroup would be African American, the African American population at 28%. I was unable to secure the trend data on this, but I do know that we have an increasing Asian population. Our Latino population is not as large as some because many attend another middle school in our cluster with an ESOL program. A little more about us. We have a total of 705 students, so we're a small school, and most would agree we have a warm, friendly, and student-centered learning environment. Our administrators support most any initiative as long as we can demonstrate the positive impact on student learning. Our technology focus is strong. In fact, we're moving in the direction of a one-to-one iPad implementation. So here you see the principal, Lauren Seidman, top left, in my science lab. And on the right you see our robotics club, which I sponsor, competing in a local tournament. And then below, the two below, students are using technology, which is generally considered commonplace in our school. So let's take a look at our district and state CRCT results. And here you'll see how Fulton County compares to the state in 8th grade reading in the meets and exceeds category over the last 4 years. The years are shown below the bars, and the district is represented by blue bars and the state in red. And as you see here, we have remained consistently above the state, although the gap has been closing as the state has been making steady progress. This shows our district compared with the state in mathematics. And again, Fulton County outperforms the state, but with the gap closing. And the same holds true in science, as you see here. And although I didn't include them, the other disciplines, the English, language arts, and social studies, also outperformed the state. We'll now take a look at the CRCT results in just the district. And this graph compares the content areas in 8th grade for reading, English, language arts, mathematics, science, and social studies for the last 3 years. The blue bar represents 2012, the red 2013, and the green bar represents 2014. And as you see, reading and ELA show the strongest scores and science the lowest scores in the district. But I might add the same is true for the state, although it's just not shown here. I created this line graph to help us see the change over time. Since 2010 actually, and the dates are listed at the bottom. And we're looking at 3 content areas: reading, math, and science. Reading is shown in the blue line, math in red, and science in green. And as you see, there was no significant change or changes in the district from year to year. Math fell a bit this past year while science went up slightly. Now let's take a look at how the school compared to the district. This shows how 8th grade compares in all the major content areas. Haynesbridge is shown is represented by the blue cylinder and the district is in red. And as you see that while reading and ELA are close, our school's performance is stronger in the other content areas, and in fact by more than 13 or 14 percentage points in math, science, and social studies. In this graph, we're looking at only at 7th grade science, where I teach, and the school is contrasted with the district. The school this time is represented by the red cylinder bars, and the district is represented by the blue. While the scores were closer in 2011, as you see, and I'm happy to report, the school has outperformed the district the last 3 years, particularly this past year. Here is a line graph that I created to show the same data over time. The red line represents Haynesbridge and the blue line represents the district. This gives us a clearer view of the trending differences, and again I'm happy to see that increase over this last year in our school's 7th grade science. This line graph shows the trending differences in 8th grade science for the school and the district. The school here is shown with the red line and the district in blue. And as you see, we're consistently ahead and slightly trending upward. Okay, now we'll take a look at our local data and the contrast between grade levels. So here we're looking only at the reading results at each grade level for the past 2 years. The green represents the meets category, yellow represents the exceeds category, and red represents did not meet. And as you see, in reading, most students are scoring in the exceeds category. 8th grade shows the strongest results in this category. However, 7th grade shows the greatest improvement, from 45% to 60% exceeds. Here we're looking at the CRCT performance in math for the 2 years and at each grade level. And as you see, there's still large percentages in the exceed category in the yellow. But it also shows an increase in 8th grade by 9 percentage points from last year to this year, and in 7th grade an increase of 7 percentage points. And in 6th grade math, that fell 8 percentage points from last year to this year. And now on to the science results compared at each grade level. 8th had an increase of 9 percentage points over last year in the exceeds category. 7th grade showed an increase of 6 percentage points in exceeds. And this shows that 6th grade science fell by 22 points in the exceeds category. Also, it shows that 17% fell in the did not meet category in the 6th grade group, representing about an 8 percentage point difference over last year. So likely we had some movement in 6th grade from the exceeds category to the meets category, and then some, of course, to the did not meet category. This line graph I created shows the trends in percent exceeds in science. The red line represents 7th grade science, 8th is in gray, and 6th is in yellow. So as we see, as this shows, there was an increase the past few years in 7th and 8th grade science, but a sharp decrease in the 6th grade science. Science and math support our increasing STEM focus in our learning community, and I was interested in seeing how closely they paralleled. So this line graph shows the trending data in 8th grade in the exceeds category for these two, math and science. Math is shown in red with the red line and shows a stronger performance each year, and science in the blue with the blue line. But as you see, they are closely paralleled. Okay, and then in 7th grade, math and science, they are parallel somewhat as well. But as you see in math, there was a slip year before last, and they were back closer again this past year. Okay, and then finally the 6th grade science and math together in a line graph showing trended data, again for the exceeds category. And it's parallel as it has been, but this shows a steeper decline in science in this past year, 2014. Okay, and we'll wrap this up by synthesizing some of what we've seen and what we've talked about. As we look at Haynesbridge Middle School's results contrasted with the district and the state, we fare quite well across the board. Within the district, our English language arts and reading performed the strongest. Haynesbridge outperformed the district in all content areas. And within the school, reading had the strongest performance overall and the most students exceeding expectations. Also within HBS, math, particularly 8th grade, showed the largest number exceeding expectations and the greatest gain in exceeds. Our STEM subjects, math and science, paralleled closely. And within the school science department, 8th grade showed the greatest gain in exceeds, followed closely by the 7th grade. The performance of the 6th grade science fell sharply this year. 6th grade fell in exceeds by 22 points, and 17% of the 6th grade science students did not meet expectations. In 7th and 8th grade science, the did not meet category was reduced by half. And finally, I'd like to address our opportunities. We need to examine the data in our school's various learning communities, analyze the data and look for areas to improve upon, and determine and verify causes in areas needing the improvement, and identify solutions, such as perhaps certain teaching practices, all while following the UDP using data process that we learned in this course. We need to establish a data coach position, if possible, to provide someone experienced and comfortable in working with data and data analysis to assist the learning communities as they examine their data and facilitate this school-wide process. Consistent with the district and state, our greatest opportunity is in science in all grades, particularly in 6th, the rising 7th graders. We need to investigate variables contributing to the lower science scores in our school and focus on those variables that we can control. We need to investigate the significant drop in the 6th grade science performance and the increase in the did not meet category as those students enter 7th grade. And again, verifying causes, identifying solutions, and implementing them. So we've seen some opportunities as we move ahead, and while these opportunities may present some challenges, it will certainly be worth it. The improvements that result as we see our students learning and increasing their performance. And thank you very much for watching and listening to this data overview.